Hello everyone and welcome back to another new album video. We're now on week 27 and this week we're taking a look at In Times New Roman by Queens of the Stone Age. First released June 16th, 2023. Some notable tracks on this album include Obscenery, Negative Space, Carnivore, and Straitjacket Fitting. Ended up listening to this just earlier this year, so it came out last year. I didn't get around to listening to it like right when it came out, but listened to it earlier this year, like maybe like a month or maybe like a month and a half ago or something like that. And it's kind of like was sitting on it to see if I wanted to do a video about it, and I ended up that's how we came to this conclusion to do this album. Really enjoyed it. I don't know where I would necessarily rank it in their kind of wider discography. I think actually, like as I looked through their discography just before I did this video, I've only there's only one album of theirs that I've yet to listen to, and I think that's Lullabies to Paralyze. So I'll probably have to, listen to that at some point. But this episode this week, we're talking about In Times New Roman. So I have some notes here. Then we'll get to like the track listing and all that kind of stuff too. So let's see where we're at here. So again, Queens of the Stone Age in Times New Roman. This is their 8th studio album from them, and it's their first studio album since Villains in 2017. So quite a few years between that. So 6 years before it got released, but it's been 7 years overall now. But yeah, so Villains was in 2017, and then this came out last year. There's a really interesting, have it pulled up here, a Josh Homme quote about kind of the recording process of this album and kind of how life events kind of had an influence on working on this record. So this is a quote. The interview was from NME, but the quote from Josh Homme is, "I think when you're dealing with, I think when you're dealing with the extreme ups and downs of life, you don't stop and go, I should really make a record. Those things don't exist in that moment. If your roof is flooding, you don't say, we should make a record about this. You have to stop yourself drowning in a flood. We recorded it probably 2.5 years ago, but it just sat there waiting to be finished. I didn't sing it until last November. I wasn't done living. Honestly, I was probably afraid. I wasn't ready. You need the flood to be over, and then you can decide whether you can accept the flood. I think with this being a record about acceptance, you need to actually get there yourself." So a lot of stuff kind of had happened between that record coming out and kind of like a bunch of. I think Josh Homme had like a bunch of like health issues that came up. In my research, it said he had was diagnosed with some kind of form of cancer in 2022. Didn't specify what it was, but he had to go get surgery on that, and then it spent like the next year like healing from that. Taylor Hawkins also in that time period. 2022 had passed away as well, and I know he was friends with Taylor was friends with Josh and the other like Queens of the Stone Age members. Obviously, Dave Grohl is a member of that band, or was a member of Queens of the Stone Age at one point as well. So just various things, kind of basically like life getting in the way, if that's a good way to kind of explain it. But that happened, and then they eventually released the album. Two pretty good reviews. The reviews for it, let me actually bring up the scores. Let's go down here. Basically has an 80 out of 100 on Metacritic. So that's actually pretty good. That's kind of like a 4. I would consider that like a 4 out of 5 stars kind of review there. But AllMusic gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Classic Rock gave it a 4 out of 5. Daily Telegraph has it at a 4 out of 5. Exclaim has it at a 7 out of 10. The Independent has it at 3 out of 5. Kerrang has it at 4 out of 5. Louder Sound only gives it a 2.5 out of 5. NME has it at a 4 out of 5. 6.8 out of 10 from Pitchfork. And Sputnik Music gives it a 3.7 out of 5. Doing these videos, I just noticed that like Pitchfork definitely seems to be a little bit harsher on some of their reviews. So, like I said, I've listened to pretty much all of their discography, or their main studio discography. I think Songs of the Deaf is still probably my favorite. Like Rated R is really good. Like Clockwork is also amazing. So I don't necessarily know where I would rank this one. One thing I really like about Queens of the Stone Age is none of their albums, at least to me, sound like albums they've put out before. You know, you kind of like some bands get into kind of the thing where like they put out an album and their next album sounds exactly the same, and the album after that sounds exactly the same. Queens of the Stone Age, I don't think has ever really done that, at least in my opinion. Everything sounds usually like somewhat different. Like especially if you go to like something like Clockwork, it was very kind of like subdued in the sound. I love Like Clockwork, excellent record from them as well. But I really enjoyed In Times New Roman. They played here, I want to say, last year, like last fall. Would have been a couple months after this came out, but I unfortunately wasn't able to go see them. So hopefully next time they're on tour, like in this area, I'll definitely check them out because I think I was like either like working or like just wasn't available to go to the show for whatever reason. But next time the Queens of the Stone Age are in the area, I'm definitely planning on going. It looks like they put on like an amazing show. They have like kind of like an amazing like back catalog, going all the way to 1998. I covered their first album on my 1998 series, for example. So they've been around for a while. And then, like I said, probably Songs for the Deaf. It's probably my favorite. You have Dave Grohl on there doing some just incredible drumming, and the concept of that album is really cool. But In Times New Roman also very good. Definitely had a blast listening to this album. But we're gonna actually go into the track listing here for this album. So this album comes out at 47 minutes and 37 seconds with 10 tracks. Track 1 is Obscenery. Track 2 is Paper Mache. Paper Mache. That's probably what it's supposed to be. Paper Machete, I should say. So track 2 is Paper Machete. Track 3, I don't know why my mind just went to Paper Mache, but track 2 is Paper Machete. Track 3 is Negative Space. Track 4 is Time and Place. Track 5 is Made to Parade. Track 6 is Carnivore. That might be one of my favorite tracks off the album. Like I remember, I've been going through just every album I listened to this year. I'm taking one song off of each album I listen to, and I'm putting that into a playlist. So basically, however many albums I listen to, there'll be one song featured on that playlist from every album. And Carnivore off this album is the song that I went with for In Times New Roman. Track 7 is What the Peephole Say. Track 8 is Sicily. Track 9 is Emotion Sickness. And track 10 is Straight Jacket Fitting. So again, like I said, comes in at like a little bit over 47 minutes. Kind of like the perfect length for an album. I kind of like these. Don't want to call them shorter albums because I think they're definitely full length. But they kind of have enough. That time is enough time for me to finish it in one sitting and not have to kind of come back to it later. I definitely prefer to listen to an album like all at once, and kind of like anything within like between like the 40 to 45 minute range is like the perfect like runtime for me because I can listen to that on my commute. It's like not like overly like drag, like they're not adding tracks in there to drag it out. Everything on this album feels like very like concise and like kind of like doesn't seem like there's like a whole lot of just like extra stuff on there to kind of pad it out. Some artists like to just throw on a bunch of tracks like to kind of just get the runtime up like over like an hour. There's been a couple albums I listened to this year where I think it was like 2 discs and it was like close to 2 hours. So stuff like that. So I definitely like that they keep it kind of short. But I definitely need to go back and listen to Lullabies to Paralyze, and then I can kind of come up with like complete rankings for their discography. Like I said, I don't exactly know where I would rate this one just yet. I think it's still, for me, it's still probably too new to really finalize like a spot. But I definitely had a really good time with it. I think it's kind of better, much better, I would say, than the previous album, Villains. Like, I love the cover artwork for Villains, and Villains has a couple standout tracks, but I definitely feel like it's one of their weaker albums, maybe even their weakest one. So it's definitely better than Villains, I think. I don't know if I like it more than Like Clockwork. Like Clockwork, I think is it might be below that. But so yeah, I just need to go in at some point, finish up all the albums, and then do that. But this album definitely worth giving it a listen. I played it on Apple Music, but it's available kind of wherever. But that is going to do it for this episode. We're a little bit over the halfway point of the series so far, so we're going to do this up until the end of the year. And then, like last year, we'll probably do like a breakdown of all the albums, like covering like the genres and all that kind of stuff as well. And I've also just been listening to a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot of albums this year. So I'll probably be doing like a complete breakdown of that. That'll be like a separate thing. But that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.